So today I want to talk about what happens if you don't make it as a footballer. Now I want to talk about, were all the hours of training a waste of time? Was it all for nothing? Is your life over, sort of thing? And yeah, I'm just gonna basically talk about what happens if you don't actually make it. Now, let me start by saying that when I was a young player, probably about 12, 13, I'd always hate that question that everyone used to ask. Whenever someone asks you, okay, what do you want to be, and you tell them, I want to be a footballer, like that's all I want to be. Then they'll always be like, oh, but what's your plan B though? So like, what happens if you don't make it? And that question would always piss me off. I don't know why. I just like in my 12-year-old mind, in my 11-year-old mind, I always thought, nah, um, footballer is the only way. Like it's a foregone conclusion. Like there's no way I don't make it. There's no way I don't become a footballer. You know what I'm saying? I thought to myself, oh, I'm one of the best in my year. Like in my year group, there's no way I don't make it as a footballer. Like I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. And partly this is because like when you're a young person, when you're a young boy, it's kind of like you look at all the other jobs in like school, in like, yeah, all these other jobs that you're taught, like being an accountant, being a scientist, being like a doctor, and you just look at it and you're like, oh, that all of that is dead, man. Like it doesn't excite you one bit. Like the only thing that really excites you is basically like your passion. So yeah, so for you it's gonna be a footballer. So that's the only thing that excited me. Like I didn't have an interest in doing maths, in science, in I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a lawyer. You know, all these jobs that your teachers, your parents always tell you about. Oh, be a lawyer, be a doctor, be all of this. Now all of that sounded dead to me. Like I saw I saw footballers, how they lived, how they played, the fame, the money. I saw Ronaldo's Bugatti. I saw the way fans would run to the pitch and literally be bowing down to Messi and all of these guys. Like it's crazy. You see Neymar on the cover of this, doing advertisements for this, and you're like, yeah, I want some of that as well. So I get it, like it feels like when you're young, it kind of feels like, nah, it's the only way. Everything else just seems dead. Like everything else just seems like not an option. But today I'm actually gonna discuss like how, the hours of training and how of the dedication where you actually tried your hardest to make it, how they don't go to waste and they actually help you in like other areas of life. Wherever you're trying to go, and whether you're trying to make your own business, whether you decide, okay, it's time for me to get a career, I just want to tell you that all those hours weren't a waste of time. They taught, literally, football in general. It's not a waste of time, even if you don't make it. Literally, football, it teaches you so many lessons off the pitch, on the pitch. It just gives you a different mindset, to be honest. Like it teaches you a lot about life. You can take a lot of lessons from literally just playing football, literally just dedicating yourself, maybe from the age of like 6 to like 18, 21, whenever you call it quits, basically. And yeah, how I just want to discuss how it's not a waste of time and how you can actually still go on to live a good life. Because obviously, certain guys have their identity so wrapped up in being a footballer, and and yeah, and when they don't make it, it can be devastating. Like obviously, I know you guys have heard about the Man City, the Man City academy guy who took his own life because he didn't make it, and it's like you look at it and it's like, if only he had someone to sort of tell him that even if you don't make it, all the lessons you learn from football, all the hard work, the dedication, the sacrifice, it's going to help you in other areas of life. You can still live a good life, pretty much. And that's pretty much what I want to talk about today. Now, obviously, I'm not saying you shouldn't work hard. I'm saying no. If you want to be a footballer, work your hardest to make it. But I'm saying if you don't make it, all the work, all the hours, all the matches you played, it wasn't a waste of time. That's my point. So let me elaborate. So first, I want to talk about how football can make you more mentally tougher, basically. So obviously, football can teach you so many valuable lessons about life, but the first one is probably mental toughness, basically how to come back from a setback. So obviously, we've all been in them situations where you're 2-0 down. It might be the 60th minute. You've had a dead game. No one in your team has really been playing well. Your team look dead and buried. Maybe there's a stoppage play for something. Your coach calls you all in. Your coach says, yo, we're still in this. We can still get a win. You're probably thinking, nah. But then obviously you keep playing, you keep playing, you keep playing. Then you nick a goal here. All right, 2-1 now. Nick another goal here. All right, it's 2-2. Now you're all looking around like, yo, we could win this game. Like 15 minutes ago, it looked like a foregone conclusion that we'll lose the game. But literally, now you're in to win the game. So you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing. And then obviously, let's say 90th minute, it's a corner, your centre back rises up, header, bang, 3-2. And obviously you run off, you go crazy, you came back from 2-0 down. And obviously little things like this is just resilience, just after a setback, after getting knocked down, just teaches you, yo, you just have that bounce back ability to get up, dust yourself off and be like, yo, we go again. Like we keep going. Even in the games where you're 2-0 up and the other team come back from 3-2, that teaches you a lesson as well that, yo, it's not always gonna go your way. Some weeks you're gonna be on the receiving end of a team making a comeback, a team battering you like 7-0. You're gonna have to just take that loss, and it shows you, yo, you just have to take that loss and then come back the next week, go back to training, go back to square one, and then basically just come back, put all of that out of your mind, and then just go back to training the next week, work hard there, and then match day just be ready and promise yourself, yo, that's never gonna happen again. We're never gonna blow a 2-0 lead. We're never gonna get bad like that again, 6-0, 7-0. Nah. So obviously this is reminiscent of life where, dude, it's unpredictable. You never know what's gonna happen. You might have a family member die. You might fall in hard times, like financially. You might get in debt. Your girl might cheat on you. Like your girl, you've been with your girl for like 4 years. She cheats on you. Yo, like things like this happen. So obviously, I feel like little things in football just gives you that mental edge over somebody who never really played football, who just stayed indoors, who didn't really do anything. It just sort of gives you those edge, gives you that edge of a people like that your age. So like I said, when some of those things happen, your family death, financial matters, your girl cheating on you, you just know, all right, cool, it happened. Obviously, you'll be sad for a little bit, maybe 2 days. 2 days you cry or you do whatever you need to do, but then you dust yourself back up and you say, yo, that's life. Like we go again, sort of thing. So yeah, that's the first point. Literally, just mental toughness. I feel like football toughens you up. It just shows you that, yo, even when it looks like it's over, it's never over. You still have a chance to come back. You still have a chance to redeem yourself for any of the mistakes you made in life. It's never too late, basically. So yeah. Also, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I was watching the Crystal Palace documentary, and I was thinking to myself, yo, the amount of pressure that these guys are under, from literally under 8s to all the way up to like under 16s, under 16s or under 18s. It's mad the amount of pressure they're on. Literally every single training session, they're literally being scrutinized. The coaches are literally picking up on literally the tiniest things. Like, for example, I remember one week they were doing like sprint training. Like I think they were testing their times over. I think it was like 30 meters, 30 meters or 30 yards, something like that. And I think one guy literally got like zero point 0.1 slower than like the month previous. And then these coaches were all like, oh my gosh, like he got slower, like what's going on? And I was thinking, damn, like damn, it's just 0.1, like no, I think it was 0.01 slower. I was thinking, yo, it's just 0.01 slower, like relax, bro. But that's the type of scrutiny let's say if you're an academy, that's the type of scrutiny you're under. So always just under pressure to basically just perform at your maximum. And obviously this is obviously gonna harden your mind when you go into adulthood, whether you make it or not. It's obviously gonna harden your mind. Literally, another example in the documentary was literally when I remember a new player came in. I think these were like under 12s or something. A new player came in, and immediately everybody rushed to the new player talking about, oh, what position do you play? What position do you play? Everyone was asking, what position do you play? Because they're all afraid, this guy's coming in, he's trying to take my place pretty much. And then I think he said his position. And then when he said I think he was a centre back or something. And then all the centre backs sort of looked at each other and they were like, oh, damn. And then I think they interviewed one of the guys who were already there, one of the kids who were already there at the Panther Academy. And then they were like, how do you feel about the new guy coming in? And he was like, it just means I just have to work harder. Like, I can't lose my place, blah, blah, blah. And see, it just gives you a different mentality. Obviously, imagine you're thinking this as a 12-year-old, you're under all this pressure. And you know what they say, pressure makes diamonds. So like, it's just mentally hardening him. So when he goes into the real world, it's like, yo, and he's under pressure, or he has to compete with someone for a particular thing, a particular job, a particular whatever it is. He's just gonna have that mental edge over someone who's sort of never been in that position where they have to compete, where they have to be under pressure, where they have someone else just constantly looking at their every movement. Yo, the academy guy's gonna be like, yo, this is normal. I've experienced this before. So, like I said, that's another way it gives you an edge in life. So the next point is literally that if you've been grinding to really make it as a pro, if you've been putting in the hours, you've been doing 3 hours a day, 5 times a week, sort of thing. And obviously that work ethic, that work ethic, that sort of mentality is obviously going to transfer to other areas of your life. So yeah, it's obviously gonna it's gonna transfer to other areas of your life, and it's actually gonna teach you, okay, how does hard work actually work? What's it called? How progress actually works. That's what I mean. How progress actually works. Because obviously progress doesn't just go like this. It's gonna show you how progress actually works. Progress is gonna be like, okay, so you work for like, let's say 2 weeks. You work for like 2 weeks, no results, no results. A month goes by, maybe 2 months go by, and then eventually, let's say you're working on a part of your game, you're working on your shooting. 2 months go by, you're working on your shooting, and then 3 months, 4 months, then maybe on the fifth month, it just goes exponentially like that. So obviously, it's going to teach you that, yo, when you're working hard on something, when you're trying to progress in something, you're not going to quit after 1 week of trying. You're not going to quit after 2 weeks of trying, because you know, okay, cool. For 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month, I'm not really going to see any progress. But then by that fourth month, I'm gonna start seeing some progress, and then by the fifth month, you're gone. You've accelerated. You're gone. Obviously, for me, I feel like I learned this during COVID. So when me and my cousin were going to go train football, we were just working on our game, working on our fitness. Obviously, the first 2 weeks we didn't really see a difference. We were putting in the work, putting in the hard work. I remember it was hot. It was hot as well. Like that March, April, May, June, it was hot. So I remember we were putting in that work, and obviously after maybe like a month, I didn't really see too much progress. Obviously I was fat as well, so I was trying to lose weight, and I looked in the mirror, I was like, I don't really see too much. But then obviously we just kept going, we just kept training, kept going, and then 2 months went by, 3 months went by, and then eventually 4 months went by, and then boom, we both saw just massive increases in our fitness, in our technical ability. Obviously, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, "Yo, I ain't fat anymore." So I was gassed. I was like, "Yo, I don't, I don't have to get bullied in school no more for being fat." I was like, "Yo, this is sick." So obviously, that taught me personally that, yo, after 1 or 2 weeks, you're not really gonna see results. You're not really gonna see too much. But if you keep going, eventually the results are just gonna compound, and they're just gonna be like, yo, and then you're gonna tell yourself, okay, now I know how this actually works. You don't just see results after a week, after 2 weeks. You actually have to put in that work. Like for the first 2 months, you could literally make 1% progress. For the first like 3 months, you made 1% progress, and then month four, you just make 10% out of nowhere. Like that's literally how it works. You put in work for a long time, don't really see anything, and then all of a sudden you just see a massive increase. So obviously, if you've been working on your game as a player, you've probably experienced this as well. Where let's say you're working on your free kicks, the first 2 weeks you're still sort of at the same ability. You're still trying to figure out. You're still not the best at free kicks. But then obviously, 2 months go by, 3 months go by, 4 months go by, and then after 4 months, everything is just cash. You're hitting the top bins. You're hitting any corner you want. If you say top right, it's going top right. If you say left, it's going left. If you wanna, what's it called, over the wall, under the wall, doesn't matter. Depending on what equipment you have, doesn't matter. Like everything is just cash. You're just hitting everything, and then you're like, damn, like it feels you've been putting in work, but it kind of feels like, damn, like this progress only happened in like the last 1 week. And yeah, that's literally just how progress works. Like you have to spend a long time putting in work, and you don't really see results, and then eventually you just see it just goes up. So yeah, obviously other people haven't been through this. You have never really experienced this. You have never really like worked on something hard. Because let's be honest, when you're 14, most 14-year-olds, if you ain't playing sports, then what are you really doing? Like just at home, PS5, what else? Eating food, like on call with your friends, watching porn, like like bro, it's mad, isn't it? So yeah, most people your age haven't really experienced this. Once they get into adulthood and maybe they want to make a business after 2 weeks of not seeing anything, they quit. Maybe they want to make a YouTube channel. After 2 weeks of seeing no results, they quit. They're like, oh, this isn't for me. Well, if they had the experience, if they had the knowledge, they would know that, yo, probably gonna have to put in at least 3 months until they even see anything. So as a footballer who was trying to make where you were putting in the hours, putting in the work, but you just end up you didn't end up making it. It's not all is lost, you know what I'm saying? Because you still have these lessons that football taught you. You still have these things that you can take into your adulthood, even if you didn't make it, and still thrive in life pretty much. It's like for example, you see those movies where it's like you got the skinny kid in school, he's getting bullied every week. He's getting bullied every day, pretty much. He's just this little fragile kid. And then in like the summer holidays, maybe it's like a 6 week summer holiday or 3 month summer holiday, whatever country you're in. He comes back and he's just this jacked tank. Like he just built like a tank. He's built like a brick shit house. And you just look at it and you're like, some people actually believe that this stuff is possible. That's why you see all of these 30-day challenges online, these 6 week, these 90-day body transformations, little things like this. What's it called? Because obviously people have been watching these movies where it's like, oh, the little skinny kid, he's there, he's getting bullied every day. 6 weeks later, he just comes back as this beast, as this tank, and it's like, bro, that transformation does not happen in 6 weeks. That's more like 6 years in the real world. Like, but obviously, because you've been putting in work, because you've been making improvements in your game, you know that already. You know that, yo, it's gonna take time. First few weeks or months are not, you're not really gonna see anything, but eventually things are gonna turn and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm here now, I'm here. So see, that's the edge you get over other people around you who didn't really experience that, who didn't really experience, you know, pretty much working hard at anything. And also this is the reason where you always hear like sort of what's it called, less known business people, but you always hear that they're former like professional athletes. What's it called? Especially in America, they're either former professional like NBA players. Maybe they were in the NBA for like 1 year, and now they're a business owner. They were in the NFL, in the baseball league there, or maybe they just played like college basketball, college American football, and they're all like business owners now. Simply because, like I said, it just gives you a different mindset. You just know how it works pretty much. You just know how the hard work goes. You're gonna have to put in some work for a period of time where you don't really see results. That's where most people will quit. But obviously, because you've seen improvements in your game, whatever sport you play, whether you've seen it in your passing, your free kicks, your shooting, you know that it takes time. You know that there's going to be a period of time where you don't see anything, but eventually it's going to come. And that's why, like my point says, that's why you see a lot of these former professional athletes or former like semi-pro players. They always make good business owners because they know that they're willing to do the 10-hour days, you know what I'm saying, without seeing any results for a while. So my last point is literally, I feel like when you're striving to become a footballer, it gives you at a young age as well. It gives you a routine and sort of teaches you sacrifice. So what I mean by the routine part is literally, let's say if you really want to make it, you're dedicated, maybe you're between the ages of like 12 and 16, let's say, for example, as a young player, let's say it's the summer holidays or it's the Christmas break. Obviously, when the Christmas break rolls around, what are you gonna do? You're gonna wake up, probably have breakfast, then you're gonna go out to the pitch and train for. Let's say you go out to the pitch and train for like 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours. You come back, you eat good food again. And then you're probably watching like football content on how to improve your game, what to do. Later on, you might go to the gym, try get stronger, try work on your strengths, and then you come back and then you get an early night and then you reset and you go again basically. And in my opinion, this is just good just to get you into a routine, just get you into a routine, which is going to help you in life compared to like your friends. Let's say for example, they just wake up, they don't really know what to do, they don't really have anything to sort of strive for. They just sort of wake up late, play games, yeah, and just basically just sit in the house all day. Whereas you've got a structured routine. You're there striving for a goal. You're there actually trying to become better. You, like I said, you have something to go for. You're trying to become better compared to the other guys who they don't really have anything to look forward to. So they just sort of lounge around in their house, don't really do much, don't really make any progress. And obviously it's acceptable because everyone's looking at them like, oh, they're only young, they're only 12, 13, 14, 15. But whereas you're sort of getting ahead of the game because you're like, all right, cool, I need to do something, I need to be productive, I need to get out, become a better player. And obviously through doing all of this, you become a better person, you become more disciplined. You, like I said, you have a routine, you can stick to a routine. And like I said, routine is especially it's important in life. Like for example, for me, after COVID had stopped, I'd come back and everyone was like, "Oh, JT, JT, you actually lost weight. You're not fat anymore." I was like, "Yeah, I was." You know what I'm saying? I was doing runs in the park. I was training with my cousin, playing football. I was doing all of that. Then I would ask them, "Okay, what did you do during COVID?" And then they'll literally just tell me, "Oh, all I did was play Fortnite. I just played Fortnite. I just I was just on call with my friends playing Fortnite, doing this, doing that. I just sat down eating Pringles, watching porn, having a wank. I was thinking, raw, like you man did not do anything. Like it was just so crazy to me because it's like we had 6 months. I was thinking you did that for 6 months. And obviously at the time it doesn't seem like a big deal. It's like, oh yeah, that's what 14-year-olds do, that's what 15-year-olds do. But trust me, little things like this will get you ahead in life. Because like I said, you know routine, you know discipline. Go into that training session even when you don't feel like it. Go into train by yourself even if you're tired, you don't really feel like it. You're like, oh, I don't really want to go, but you still go anyway because, like I said, you have a goal to strive for, you have a purpose. Going to the gym, doing that gym session that you promise yourself you do, even though you're feeling tired from earlier. You're like, oh, I don't want to go, don't really feel like it. I could just push it off tomorrow, or you say to yourself, oh, I'll just do an extra hard gym session tomorrow. But you still push yourself to go. You still say, yo, I need to do this because I want to become a pro. Because if I'm not doing it, someone else is going to be doing it. That's the mentality you just have to have. Because he says there's someone out there who's willing to do the work if you're not going to do it. And then obviously, if you take it seriously, there's probably going to be stuff that, let's say your friends are doing or other people your age are doing that you're not really going to be able to do, especially if you're in an academy, for example. So let's say you're in an academy, you have to make certain sacrifices such as, you learn the concept of sacrifices, meaning that if you want to get to where you want to get to, you're going to have to give up certain things. So let's say there's a party on Saturday, everyone's going, but you have a game on Sunday, you know that your coach has said, yo, it's an important game. Let's say you play for Arsenal. Let's say you play for Arsenal Academy. You're playing Tottenham Academy tomorrow. You know, big rivalry, all of that. You can't go to that party because you know, like, yo, you can't stay out till like 12 o'clock because you're going to be shattered in the morning. You're not going to give your best performance. Then your coaches are going to be looking at you like, like what happened to him today? Like, did he crumble under the pressure? Did he just not play well? What was he doing? He wasn't running enough. And they're going to have all these questions about you. They're going to be questioning your ability, your mentality, simply because you decided to go to that party when you should have just stayed at home, gone early night, and just slept. Obviously, there's other things as well. You can't go chicken and chip shop every day because, like I said, if you're gonna get fat, it's kalas. Like you're gonna get released straight away. You can't be doing drugs as well. Nah, you can't really be doing none of that. Obviously, I don't think you should be doing drugs at all. But things like partying, things like, you know what I'm saying, go chicken and chip shop with your friend, just chilling outside. You can do it once in a while. Like there's no problem in doing once in a while. Maybe once a week, but you can't really be doing it every single day because obviously that's eventually gonna catch up to you. That's eventually gonna, if you've been eating chicken and chips every day, you've just been chilling, you've been pushing training to the side. Like I said, let's say you're in an academy and you've been pushing training to the side, you've been eating junk all the time. Eventually, another guy's gonna come in, another guy who was hungrier than you, who wanted it more than you, who was willing to sacrifice. He's gonna come in, outperform you, take your place. So obviously, yeah. Well, if that happens to you, you look back and you'll be like, okay, these were the sacrifices I had to make. This is what I had to do to become a pro footballer. Because to be honest, if you're trying to make it as a pro at a high level, it's pretty much a lifestyle. Like that's why I always say, like, if you want to become a professional footballer, you have to sort of grow up quickly. You have to sort of know these lessons quickly. The dedication, the discipline, the sacrifice. Because obviously football's a young man's game, so you're gonna have to grow up quickly. You see guys like Lamine Yamal, 15 years old, making his debut, literally 15 years old. The guy's older than me, like the guy's younger than me, sorry, like it's mad, isn't it? So like I said, football's a young game, so you're gonna have to just mentally mature quicker. You're gonna have to learn these lessons that I've said previously about the work ethic, the discipline, like I said, sacrificing, not being able to do certain things that other people your age are, what's it called, are doing. That's why you hear a lot of athletes who, like, you hear a lot of like Olympians who compete at like 15, 16. Anytime they get asked, they always say, oh, it didn't feel like I had a childhood sort of thing. They don't feel like they had a normal childhood. And that's because literally they were just training all the time. If they were like an Olympic gymnast or something, a weightlifter, a swimmer, they always just say like, yo, I didn't have a childhood because I was always training all the time, because that's what it takes pretty much. It usually just takes you to dedicate your life to get to a certain level, and you just gotta be willing to do that in it. And obviously, even if you don't make it, even if you lived that way, you didn't make it, it still taught you valuable lessons along the way. So now I think I've told the Ledley King story already, but obviously they were interviewing two rappers saying that, was Ledley King like the guy in school? Was he so good at football? And they were like, nah, he really wasn't. He just wasn't good. When everyone was out partying, he was just out training. Like apparently one time they call him, they were at the party and they call him literally just doing runs in the street. And they're like, yo, Ledley, why you not at the party? He was like, nah, I'm trying to be a professional footballer. So yeah, and this was like, I think they said this was like at like 14. He was, instead of going to that party, he was literally just going on a run in the street. They'd always catch him doing runs in the street, training by himself, just doing what it took to become a pro footballer. And yeah, and even if he didn't make it, that sort of dedication, those sort of things that he did, it will transfer to a different part of his life. Even if he got a different job, started a business, all of this transfers over. So in conclusion, what I have to say is literally work your nuts off to make your dream happen. Know that you're probably gonna have to dedicate literally your life to it. You're gonna have to make sacrifices. Like I said, you can go to that party once in a while. You can drink well. You can go to that party once in a while. You can chill with friends once in a while. It's cool, but you just have to be focused most of the time. Just focus on the goal of becoming a pro baller. And yeah, literally just work at it, and yeah. So that you have no regrets. So even if you don't make it, you can look in the mirror and say, yo, I didn't make it, but I tried it. I did everything I could. I trained my hardest. I made sacrifices. It didn't work out. It is what it is. But you just have that mentality of, yo, I have no regrets, and all these lessons I learned along the way are gonna help me in other areas of life. So yeah, that's all I got to say. I've been JT, and I'm out.